Hey guys, welcome back to DC Strats. This season is Solly. I am a little late on this guide, but Tyrant Gigas just came out, and that pushed this guide back a bit. If you haven't seen the auto guide on that, check it out. It's on my channel. I will be going over the mechanics of this boss, as well as showing two strategies that could be used to defeat her. I'll also show you the gear I used, have some unit recommendations, as well as gear recommendations. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, so to start off with, this boss is a siege. So that means only towers can stop it. Basically making Gabriel core tank for this boss. As you can see, the boss will actually stop and just stand in front of her. Now, if you put anything else in front of her, as you see here with Chifu, all she does is just walk past her, stopping only to just hit her a couple of times and then moving forward. Solly will sit there and use her special, which will deploy a mine. Most units won't be able to survive it, and a single shield won't save you. It's 2 hits. So you either need to have 2 shields or a counter and a shield in order to deflect it, save your units. Jushiun and Ella can both counter this skill, as you see here. You can also kite the mines using strikers or high movement units like Chifu, and then Razengriff can also sit there and place a shield down and then sit there and protect your team by moving the mine in the back. The goal of phase 2 is to burst her bar down and then have Jushiun counter at the same time she's doing her backstep, and that'll cancel it. If not, you'll see here, she'll backstep, then cleanse all the debuffs that she has on her, not standing still and letting you beat her up, and instead throwing a whole bunch of random stuff at you and just killing your entire team. At 103, she'll get bored with your team and then just start going towards your ship, constantly throwing out a bunch of AoE and killing basically everything on the map. And at this point, even a tower won't stop her. She'll just sit there and ignore it, continuing forward. So Sane is core on this team. She gives your entire team anti-siege damage 20% from her passive. So she's definitely somebody that you want to sit there and have. And if you unfortunately don't have her, then you're just going to have to use the 3rd DPS in her spot. But I would heavily suggest leveling up her skills and using her. She's really good. So for main DPS, since IchiNinja is up, you can use her. She does actually really good damage on proper gear. You can also use Gaeun. Both IchiNija and Gaeun can actually survive a mine with just IchiNija AGS shield. If you don't have either one of those, you can also sit there and use Ifrit. Ifrit with its 25% death pen will actually do pretty good amount of damage here. And if all else fails, you can go back to Old Faithful, Kestrel Xiaolin. She's going to have really high damage, so she'll work out here, and burst for phase 2. For this DC, sub DPS will probably be Wardens, is a good choice. And if you don't have Wardens, Kim will also be good since she's up. If you have better gear for counters, she'll probably be best. Since Solly has high defense, you want to sit there and do 100% death break. The alternate death breakers that you want to use are Tarask, Chifu, or Terminators. With your Detroit chip, that'll be 50% plus Lonely, which will be another 40%, which that equals out to 110%, taking away her entire 3,500 defense. If you don't have Lonely, you'll need to use 3 Death Breakers, Chifu, Taras, Soyun, or the usual setups. You can use Terminators instead. Now, if you don't have Awakened Senjia, you can still use Yang here. She's been used in the past, and she's still a solid pick for this boss, giving you shields and an attack buff on her ulti, as well as slowing the mines down on the boss. So since Senjia is up, she's going to be doing some ridiculously good damage on this boss. So you can sit there and start off with her in Aegea. Aegea is going to sit there and protect your team, but you still want to wait for the mine before you deploy Sane, or she'll probably die. Sane can live, but you're dealing with crit RNG at that point, and this boss likes to crit. Gaeun comes out for the counter, protecting your team from the mine here, along with Kim. Kim's going to be sitting here doing some decent damage. And then you want to try and get a Deathbreaker out as soon as possible so that you can get the boss down before the next mine. I use Senjia's ult here to try and push before the next mine. And Lonely can be forward deployed. There is a circle around the boss which silences anybody in melee range. So you don't have to sit there and do any special timing. You can just sit there and forward deploy her. She'll get silenced, and when the boss backsteps, she'll use her skill, setting up for the 100% death break into the backstep cancel into burst. This run was done on a 71%. As you can see, Sane's top damage here. Kim Chuun doing some decent damage as well. So for gear on this boss, you're going to want Gabriel on tank gear. Now Gabriel gives 30% evasion to your entire team. So that negates 30% of the 90 that you're down on this fight. So Gabriel can actually evade with 534 evasion. Granted that most of that's going to be coming from your gear, so it's suggested to have 2 evasion accessories, as well as 50% crit damage res, but as you see I'm only running 40 because she's up, or he is up, rather. You don't have to sit there and run full 50%, but if you're having issues, I would suggest running it. Senjia I have on A speed with as much range damage as possible. You can also do attack, anti-siege, or attack. But Britta gear is probably going to be your best in slot here. Aegea I have on tank A speed, or sorry, tank CDR. Gaeun is on much CDR as possible, 76 is suggested. Sane, again, I have her on her EE, attack, anti-siege, with Britta, range damage if you can afford it. Throw on as much as you can, crit damage. You want all those DPS stats. Kim, I have on, again, attack, anti-siege, with as much range damage. Britta. Tarask I have on attack speed, but truthfully, you can put attack, anti-siege on them as well. They don't need any attack speed to keep their death break up 100% if you're running Senjia and A speed operator. Lonely I have on attack speed tank, just because I want her using her skill as soon as possible when she's allowed to. And for ship, you want to run New Detroit, Kim Hana as your operator for the +1 DP, skill haste, and then either crit damage or A speed side skill. So same thing as before, but this time we're going to use Gaeun. She does good damage on this boss, plus she can apply amp, and then she, with attack speed, or just her passive in general, she'll apply skill haste down, which delays the mines from coming out. She's actually tanky enough that she can take a mine with just a shield, but Sane's still too squishy to do that, so we deploy her after the mine. Now I'm using Ella here instead of JSY. Since Ella's a striker, she's going to actually do more damage than JSY. And then on top of that, she has Death Pin on her skills. Warden's in here for the extra damage. And then we try to get Tarask out. Tarask doesn't need to be delayed after a mine, but better safe than sorry to keep the shield up. And then again, we're going to forward deploy Lonely as soon as possible so that she gets silenced, and then as soon as the backstep happens, she applies her Death Break. We get the 100%, we go for the burst here, and then Ella will sit there and counter, canceling the backstep, and then Solly will just stand still and let us beat her up. This run was also done on 71% here. As you see, Gaeun's top damage, Sane second, and then Ella's your third. Okay, so the gear used for this, same thing as before with Gabriel, double evasion, 40% crit res, double HP, some ground res. Gabriel really only needs 30 res to reach cap. So you don't actually have to sit there and put 67 like I did. Gaeun's going to be on attack speed, so she's using her passive as much as possible. Cooldown also can work, though I don't recommend it. Zenjia on CDR, tank. Ella's also on full CDR. She has a longer cooldown on her skills, so you definitely want 76 on her if you can afford it. Sane on anti-siege attack, hitting as much damage as I can. Warden's on Britta, anti-siege attack. Same thing as before, fit as much damage as possible. Range damage, crit damage, attack, whatever latency you can fit. Trask on A speed, as much damage. And Lonely on the tank, attack speed. Ship is going to be the New Detroit, as well as the same operator, Kim Hana, with attack speed. And there it is, Danger Close Solly. I hope this helps everyone improve their scores, and remember to collect your daily support rewards so you can buy things from the shop. If you have any questions, leave a comment. You can also find me on Snekcord. The link will be in the description. So I did get confirmation that IchiNinja will be doing another DC 101 with Nick the Geek and I as co-host. It's going to be this Sunday, August 13 at 5 p.m. Central. I will have that in the description as well. If you're free, stop by Global Core. The admins have set up a stage channel, so it's going to be fancy. Hopefully I will see you there. If not, see you next time.